was a little apprehensive going into the race. We're about ready for green.
Here's the pace car moving in, and the crowd on its feet as Davey Allison and Alan Kowicki lead them down. The green flag is out. The race is on. Kowicki has moved to the front in the backstretch, headed for turn number 3, taking the lead away from Davey Allison, the pole sitter.
But here comes Davey back on the ends. There we're seeing Rusty Wallace and Ken Schrader.
Everybody through the first lap in good shape. Davey Allison has grabbed the lead, but now Dale Earnhardt is engaged in a battle with the 75 car of Morgan Shepherd. As now we have an excellent shot from the bumper cam. Look how close he comes.
Well, he don't mind sticking the nose of that Chevrolet up there. He's following Harry Gant. That's whose car we were looking out the back of as Gant tries to make his way up through the pack.
And on the outside of those cars, Morgan Shepherd in the 75, the blue and white car, trying to go on the outside of Harry Gant. So Dale Earnhardt, even if he has a faster car, can't get by at this point.
The bumper cam from Harry Gant's car, looking back on Dale Earnhardt.
There we see Kyle Petty in the Peak Pontiac, and there we're looking inside Kyle's car. He's right directly behind Dale Earnhardt.
So Earnhardt, sandwiched between two of our in-car cameras, as now he moves to the inside of Harry Gant. Gant's car slides high onto the racetrack, and Dale Earnhardt picks up that position.
Gant's car does seem to be going a little high in the turns. Let's watch him this time as he goes up Kyle Petty trying to move on the inside of him, but can't quite do it. Of course, Harry is noted for liking to run a high line. He might be just trying to work himself out of groove up high here pretty early.
Rusty Wallace has just taken over second position from Alan Kowicki. So the leader now is Davey Allison with Rusty Wallace running second, Alan Kowicki third, Dick Trickle fourth, and Ken Schrader, number 25, is fifth. Here he is, moving off corner number 4.
Well, once he cleared Rusty Wallace, Alan Kowicki took off and mowed that lead down that Davey had. And look at him, Allison goes high, here comes Kowicki.
Kowicki moving inside of Davey Allison in turn number 2. They come down the backstretch. Allison not willing to give up this spot, but he's going to have to. And look at Dick Trickle, who has also caught Davey Allison. A 3-car battle here for the lead. Trickle moves to the inside of Davey Allison in turn number 4. He's looking for second position, and he's got it. Let's see if he holds it going into turn number 1. Yes, he does. Dick Trickle is second.
Dale Earnhardt, meanwhile, is right behind Davey Allison. We've got a terrific race going for the lead here at Dover this afternoon.
Let's go to Jack Arute, who can comment on the 28 cars.
Well, Bob, 5 laps ago, Davey Allison said the car felt very good. Then 4 laps ago, he said it was beginning to get just a tad loose. 2 laps ago, he complained that the car had totally gone away. It was so loose he could hardly handle it. Now he's dropping off the pace, waiting for the first caution as we watch Dale Earnhardt flow by. Your pole winner, Davey Allison.
You know what, Bob? I wonder if on this green racetrack, as I said, it rained last night. I wonder if some of these fellas might be blistering some tires early on this rough surface until we get some rubber in.
Well, something has caused the handling to go away on several of the cars. Not only Davey Allison, but Rusty Wallace's handling also appears to have gone away. He's lost several positions. But on the other hand, things are working well for Alan Kowicki and Dick Trickle and Dale Earnhardt.
Dick Trickle keeping the pressure on Alan Kowicki. He's going to try to lead this thing.
Unbelievable. Trickle is really taking that Buick for a ride. He is right on the rear wing of the 7 car.
Old Dick Trickle, don't you? Now, these guys have been racing for many, many years. Both these fellas, many years racing the ASA circuit up in the Midwestern part of the United States, Milwaukee and places, Salem, Indiana. So they're not strangers to each other by any stretch of the imagination.
No, they aren't. They know each other's habits pretty well, and both of them have been hard chargers all during their careers.
Trickle still trying to position himself to the inside of Alan Kowicki, but for the moment, Kowicki holds off the challenge.
Well, here comes Trickle on the inside. I think he might have him this time, Bob.
Let's see if he does. At the line, they're virtually side by side. They go into 1, 2 abreast, side by side. Trickle to the inside and Kowicki to the outside. Still, neither driver willing to give an inch, and Trickle comes away with the lead.
Well, he finally let his old buddy go by. Thank goodness Alan let Dick lead a lap.
Meanwhile, it's Dale Earnhardt who continues to run in 3rd position. Earlier in the weekend, Benny asked Earnhardt, what if your old buddy Rusty beat you for that important Winston Cup?
What old buddy?
Rusty.
Oh, yeah, he's my friend sometime back in Charlotte.
On the racetrack, he's not.
We're in Dover.
And next week, you're going to be in Martinsville, right?
Yeah, that's right. We're pretty good friends, and we enjoy racing together, and it's a lot of fun. But he's serious when it comes about racing, and I am too. And we're not going to do anything crazy to each other, but still we're going to race each other hard as we can.
I just spoke with Richard Childers, who's the car owner for Dale Earnhardt. He asked him why Dale hadn't made any more of a move toward the front. He said, hey, we used our tires up here. We started 15th, and Dale must have been a little hard on the tires to get up to 3rd spot. Now the car is so very loose, he's having a difficult time even holding off Davey Allison. So they're going to be content to sit there and ride, and possibly, like Rusty Wallace and a few other drivers, hope to get a caution flag, get in, and make an adjustment on the stagger. Gentlemen?
Jerry Punch, what's going to happen is when there's a caution flag or these cars make a pit stop, they're all going to make massive changes in the chassis. And then the racetrack's going to change, and they're going to be back out to lunch again and have to put the cars back exactly the way they were. Right now, it's purely a question mark. Well, look at this 3 abreast.
They're really tightening up because Hut Strickland is there in car number 57, causing the top 3 to all bunch together. No change of position for the moment, but man, they are tight. Let's go to Jack Arute with more on that situation that Benny was talking about.
Well, Bob and Benny, I think what you'll find is most of the front runners will, as you say, make major adjustments. One that might not, however, is Dick Trickle. I checked with Jim Fenning, the crew chief, and he said Trickle says the car is just a little bit loose, but likes the condition of the car right now, and they've got no complaints. That may also account for why he's been able to carve his way to the front.
All right, so everything well with Trickle, but look at Earnhardt and Alan Kowicki battling for 2nd position. Here comes Earnhardt to the inside in turn number 4. Ooh, they touch! A huge puff of smoke comes from the cars as they make contact right at the starting line, taking everybody's breath away here in the main grandstand. But Dale Earnhardt comes away with 2nd position, and Alan Kowicki is back to 3rd. The leader remains Dick Trickle.
And you would say, why would Dale Earnhardt want to lead, want to get to the front this early? Let's watch this replay again, and you can see the contact as they come off turn 4, down the front straightaway. Now watch. Earnhardt starts coming up the hill, and they touch. Look, the cars head for the infield. Alan Kowicki did a super job saving that car.
Yeah, both of them did. I'll tell you, lesser drivers would have caused a major accident right there.
Harry Gant has a problem. He's dropped his Skull Bandit to the inside of the racetrack and is headed for pit road. We watch from the in-car camera. Here comes Harry Gant in for an unscheduled stop, and there's smoke coming from that car. Jerry Punch is there. Now the leader encountering some traffic as just ahead lie several cars, including Terry Labonte, and there is the progress of Dick Trickle so far. Started 6th, moved to 3rd at the end of 25 laps, and at the end of 60 laps found himself in the lead. But look at the traffic he's got to contend with, and while all that's going on, he has himself in a battle for the lead with Dale Earnhardt, and Dale's going to go into the lead and pick up those valuable 5 points.
Well, I'll tell you, you give him a little bit of an opening, he'll stick that nose of that Chevrolet down in there and go.
So Earnhardt now has the lead as he encounters the traffic.
And that yellow car on the inside of Dale Earnhardt, the number 22 car, that's Rob Moroso. I think it's about his 2nd ever Winston Cup event. Next year, going to run all the events on the Winston Cup circuit.
With Crown Petroleum as his sponsor.
Now Trickle is going to have to move around Terry Labonte here. He's losing valuable time as Earnhardt is pulling away. There is Trickle now on the high side of Terry Labonte. Here comes Alan Kowicki behind him, the number 7 Xerox car. Battle of the antifreezes here this weekend with Xerox and Prestone and Peak and everybody involved.
a lot of concern before the race today that they may be able to guess right and be able to shuffle their way to the front and take off. Well, they guessed wrong, apparently, and Jimmy Maycar said, hey, we just made a little bit of an error in the guess. Trouble in turn 4, Bob.
Yeah, it's Ernie Irvin who has scraped the wall in turn number 4. He rides the car along the wall or near it. Down across the line, the caution flag is out for the first time this afternoon, and there's damage to the right side of that Ernie Irvin car.
Ernie blew a right front tire going in turn 3 as Jerry Punch was talking about Rusty Wallace, and when we were watching, I looked up and saw Ernie go in the corner, blew a right front tire, and bam, hit the wall.
And there was debris down there in the turn. We'll replay it again and watch the upper left of your screen from our speed shot at the starter stand. There he is, you can see him right into the wall.
Yes, the car just turned right. And when the tire goes flat, there's nothing, the driver just doesn't have any control at all.
So it's our first caution period of the afternoon. We went 70 laps before we had that first caution fly over Dover Downs International Speedway. And now here are these pit stops that nearly everyone has been waiting for. Dale Earnhardt comes in under caution in lap number 71, and the Kirk Shelmerdine, Richard Childress crew go to work on the right side of that car.
He must be running a little bit warm because they're really paying a lot of attention to the grill on that Chevrolet.
Alan Kowicki is in, and Jack Arute reports.
Bob, they're going to change 4 tires on Alan Kowicki's car. Likewise for the 2 cars, one in front of him and one behind him. That, of course, of Davey Allison in front is Dale Earnhardt is away, and Dick Trickle is having a tremendous run. Now, Allison is the first of the triumvirate here to go away. They're having trouble adjusting the chassis on Alan Kowicki's car, and they have left the ratchet in. The ratchet to adjust the wedge in the left rear has been left in. Kowicki will have to come back in to have that removed. Remember at Bristol, that's what took Jimmy Spencer out of the hunt for the lead when he was running so well.
Looks like another radio antenna on the left rear of that car. It's a ratchet wrench in Alan Kowicki's machine.
It's going to take him out of the race for the lead as well because track position means so much. Look what an extension the ratchet has on it.
Yep, that will cost him track position, which is so important at any racetrack. Tough to get back up through the field.
There we see Kowicki. He's going to have to dip down low and go into the pits. There we go. I know he hates to do it, but he has to be done.
So pit stops have been completed here under caution as the track crew remains in turn number 4, cleaning up the debris from Ernie Irvin's involvement with it. And here you can see the crewman taking the ratchet wrench off the number 7 car. We'll go back and replay the exit of Dale Earnhardt. Oh, there is Ernie Irvin moving right down, who apparently had no brakes and almost got into Earnhardt's car.
What Ernie was doing was going into the garage area to be out of the race, to just take his car and put it on the truck, and he tried to turn in the road there. And Earnhardt was going by. He's lucky that they didn't make a T-bone deal out of the situation.
He really was fortunate.
That was a tough break for Rusty Wallace in the 27 Kodiak Pontiac, and you can bet when this green flag drops, he's going to be trying to get that lap back.
Here comes the leaders into the pit. Jerry Punch will report from pit road.
Dale Earnhardt brings the Goodrich Chevrolet to a halt. The crew now cleaning the windshield. We'll go to the right side of the car and add right side tires. 1 can of fuel already going in, the 2nd can of fuel going in. Let's go up and check on Davey Allison's pit with Jack Arute.
Well, Jerry, they're going to make the customary changes on Davey Allison's car. That of right side tires. Robert Yates chases an errant tire. Dale Earnhardt is up on top of your screen. Now he's away as Robert Yates and the crew decide they're going to change all 4 tires to the luxury of this caution. So far, they have not elected to make any changes on the problem that they've got on board the car. They think it may be an electrical problem. Alan Kowicki's hood is up on his car as well, and as he has a problem. They're going to change the coil inside the car, see if that will affect cure the problem that Davey Allison is having. He refires the engine, he's off and away. They're ready to change the distributor and the spark plug wires if need be. The distributor head, that is. Let's go.
Dick Trickle also exits the pits, as does the number 7 car driven by Alan Kowicki after a very lengthy pit stop by Alan. Earnhardt and Schrader. There is Earnhardt crossing the stripe and completing lap number 247. And there is second position. You can see that there are 2 cars between first and second. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
We're standing in the Folgers pit with team manager Richard Broom. Richard, you guys really have Kenny dialed in here, but you really can't talk to him. You got a little bit of a problem.
Well, I didn't really understand the question, but we got radio problems. We're closing in on him, but we're just going to try to settle in and run with that.
Well, apparently Kenny Schrader has been trying to talk to the crew.
And Rob Moroso spins.
We have a spin up in turn number 2. Rob Moroso slides sideways in the number 22 Prestone sponsored car, gets it headed the right direction, and now begins to move away, but it will bring out our 3rd yellow flag of the afternoon.
Dale Jarrett was on the inside of Moroso going into the turn, and they got together, and around Rob Moroso went.
And here comes the 71 car of Dave Marcus, who tried to get a lap back and did so on the leader, Dale Earnhardt. So we show Dave Marcus 10 laps down. That means it'll only be 9 down now.
That was a heads-up move on Dave Marcus.
Now let's take a look at, again, the spin over in turn number 2.
We don't see the cars we're talking about there. They're coming in the corner side by side, Moroso and Dale Jarrett. They make some contact. Moroso spins. Tell you what, look at our leader. Look at Earnhardt just getting by.
Boy, he did.
Our Winston, not only leader of a race, but the Winston Cup leader could have very easily been in that accident.
Well, he caught Ken Schrader, moved up on him within a car length or 2, then moves in a little bit closer. Schrader's car goes high. Martin sticks right down to the bottom of the racetrack, pulls up beside of him. And you can see the smoke coming from Schrader's tires again, as we've seen so many times this afternoon. Mark has to drive a little bit deeper down into the turn as he go up on traffic, but he made the pass.
And there is the interval now between second and third position, as Martin has second well in hand at the moment. Well, Jerry Punch is wearing our crew cam, and let's go to him. Jerry, where in the world are you right now?
Well, actually, Bob, may break up a little bit, but I'm headed in to get a nice cold drink inside the Winston Media Center, and a lot of the national press are in here looking around. We can scan around the room, and you may be able to see a little bit some people in the back there that from all over the country sitting here watching our telecast. You see the monitors in the back of the room. We'll pan around and see that the nice little buffet table set up there, and of course we'll turn around and you can see up there the television screen. So we'll even keep an eye on what's going on the racetrack. But here in the Winston Media Center, just beside the garage area at Dover, Delaware, we see some people, ex-driver Dick Brooks there feeding his face. So a lot of things in here going on, people watching the race as we are watching like you now. Dale Earnhardt coming out of turn 4.
Well, those guys don't appear to be working very hard. Neither you, Benny, and Ned?
I'm going to have to get me a job down there around that buffet table.
Now, fellas, we talked about Dale Earnhardt there a moment ago. Only put one can of fuel in his tank when he made his last pit stop. Now, we have some fellows, Lynn Thatcher and a group of people who calculate fuel mileage, and they're saying that Earnhardt is getting a little over 4 miles to the gallon, and that he's going to have to come in around lap 407 or so, and they just completed 404, so that means he's going to be coming in the next 3 or 4 if their calculations are right.
But that means that's going to leave him 97 laps. Can he make it 500?
Well,
he'd have to stop
about,
again.
Yeah, it'd leave him about 92 or 93, and that would cut it close.
The car is getting very low on fuel.
And one thing he doesn't want to do is run out of gas.
Yeah, we saw that early in the race when the 4 car driven by Rick Wilson ran out of fuel. And here comes Earnhardt. He's coming in, folks.
Just as we described, Jack Aroon has the call of the pit stop by the leader, Dale Earnhardt.
Former driver Cecil Gordon brings Dale Earnhardt to a stop in his pit stall. Earnhardt locks the car up. Chocolate Myers goes with the first 11 gallons of Union 76 fuel. They are going to change tires, all 4 tires all the way around. Myers tosses the first gallon. 11 gallons are in. Chocolate tries the second 11 as they take advantage of this lengthy stop to be able to go with 4 tires all the way around. The car is filled as far as it'll go with gas in 20 seconds even. Wow.
Wow, what a pit stop.
But he's a lap down. He is a lap down at the moment. That is the strategy that the Richard Childress team employed. They knew they had to get 4 new tires, and so they just threw that 1 can in on the previous stop, knowing that they had the time to put 2 cans in this stop.
Exactly right. You can't outfigure those guys. See, I thought I had them guys figured where they made a mistake, and come to find out I made the mistake.
Well, he can go the distance now as far as fuel is concerned. And, of course, Mark Martin, Ken Schrader, Davey Allison all have a pit stop yet to make.
Earnhardt comes out onto the racetrack just ahead of Ken Schrader, who is now in second position. The leader of the race is Mark Martin, car number 6.
So Earnhardt is a lap down, and he needs to catch Mark Martin as quick as he can and get in front of him just in case there is a caution flag.
There's second place Schrader, and there is the leader, Mark Martin, and he will need a pit stop within the next 30 laps or so. All kinds of stories to be played out here in the final laps of this race. We are 418 into this event at Dover Downs International Speedway in Delaware, and we'll be right back. Maybe the next time around for Mark Martin. We'll watch for him to see if he comes in this lap. We believe it will be coming up shortly.
His crew is standing out on pit road with the signboard ready for him to come in.
Let's go to Jackaroo.
They have radioed to him, gentlemen, to come on the pit road. Mark Martin, they've decided to bring him in a little earlier than everybody else because he's the last of the leaders as he ducks here on the pit road. Awaiting the stop is the Jack Roush-led team with crew chief Steve Neal. They come across the line. He locks up the brakes, hits the marks nicely. The first, boy, they were very much delayed in putting the first load of fuel in. The gas man just stood there and didn't bring it in. Dale Earnhardt coming out of turn 3, heading to 4. They're going to change 4 tires. Out of turn 4 comes Dale Earnhardt as Mark Martin. Here as Dale Earnhardt streaks across the stripe here. Martin is away in 21.6 seconds.
And Dale Earnhardt just went by. He's in corner number 2 at the moment as Mark Martin steps on the gas and tries to get that car up to speed just as quickly as possible. But there is Dale Earnhardt already in turn 3.
They're going to have a pretty good lead over Mark Martin as Martin now comes off of turn 4. Earnhardt goes into turn 1, so it's a full straightaway. In fact, it's about 7 seconds that Earnhardt leads Mark Martin.
We'll see what happens with those 4 fresh tires. I think Martin now will be able to gain significantly on Earnhardt because now Earnhardt's tires are getting worn.
Yeah, he's got about 30 more laps on his tires than Mark Martin does have, and that should make a big difference.
Dick Trickle, Rob Moroso, also involved was Darrell Waltrip, but he is moving away and headed toward the pits, but 3 cars are heavily damaged right along the front stretch.
There's Darrell Waltrip's car. As you can see, he did hit something. You can see fire coming from underneath us. I believe maybe the car is just down on the ground as a result of that flat tire.
I would say the exhaust is dragging the racetrack, and that's what the spark. There's Earnhardt in the pits.
Dale Earnhardt makes another pit stop, and he was just behind the accident. He threaded his way through it without having any major problem, but again, it was a close call for Dale Earnhardt. The Richard Childress crew working on the car, changing rubber on the right side. It's going to be a 4-tire change once again.
And Bob, when we went for that break, Kenny Schrader was trying to get back in the lead lap. He did, just as they came across the start-finish line when that accident happened right in front of him.
Earnhardt moves back out onto the racetrack. And here is a replay now of the crash. Neil Bonnet in trouble originally.
I don't know what happened to the car, but he hit coming off turn 4, and we see the guys all trying to dodge him. Moroso and Darrell Waltrip get together.
And then Dick Trickle comes in there with nowhere to go and hits Waltrip as he comes down across in front of him.
And you see the thing that fell off from Darrell Waltrip's car? That's the clock that the scorers use. So they'll have to put that thing back up and make sure that it's working properly.
In fact, there the fellow is down there now to pick that up, put it back up there. That thing's not as heavy as it looks, does it? He just did that pretty easy. But it was still running. They were still ticking off seconds when he picked it up.
It indeed was a nasty crash. Neil Bonnet hit hard coming off of corner number 4. The ambulance is at his race car, and the track crew here on the main straightaway cleaning up the debris from our first major crash. National Speedway, where we are under our 5th caution of the afternoon. This for the first major crash of the afternoon. It involved Neil Bonnet and several others. This is Bonnet off corner 4.
He had come off of turn 4, and the car just went straight up into the wall. We didn't catch the first part of what caused him to lose it. Neil had slowed down. It looked like a couple of laps before. I had been watching him, and he was not up to speed. Now, whether the engine blew or what happened, we don't know. But anyway, he went straight into the wall on the outside with the front end, really hit it hard, and then came back down in front of the other cars.
Among those involved, Darrell Waltrip, Jackaroo is right there.
And Bob, his damage is very extensive on the left side. They are working down in in the front hub area. They've bent everything back. They're going to have to try and peel away the sheet metal before they can even determine just what sort of quick fix they can make on the suspension.
All he ever said was Phil Parsons, so I didn't see it.
Well, that's still good news that he's awake and conscious and going to the infield care center.
There he is. He looks like he's standing in the seat of the car talking to people now.
We can now see him outside of the race car, and certainly hope that everything is going to be okay with Neil Bonnet. He appears to be in fairly good condition. Twice a winner here at Dover in 1979 and in 1981. In 79 in the spring race and in 81 in the fall race. Here is a replay again of what happened.
Well, he has already hit the wall, and Phil Parsons is in front of him there. That's Phil crossing the start-finish line. And then the other cars coming in, and Rob Moroso hitting the wall, Darrell Waltrip and Moroso getting together.
And there we see Earnhardt and Schrader. That's the two cars just coming off turn 4. Earnhardt wisely backs off the throttle, hits the brakes to try to stop. Schrader goes through and gets his lap back, so he now is in the lead lap with both Dale Earnhardt and Mark Martin.
That's 3 times today that Dale Earnhardt, something major has happened right in front of him.
Earnhardt, because he wants to win the Winston Championship, Winston Cup. Mark Martin, because he wants to win his first. Ooh, a little contact there between Earnhardt and Bodine as they came down for a start, and the green is out.
Sure was. Dale Earnhardt and Brett Bodine made some contact, accelerating down for the green flag. Earnhardt pulls about 2 or 3 car lengths away from Mark Martin.
Schrader right there in third also. The 4th car on your screen is Bill Elliott. They come down to complete the first lap under green with Dale Earnhardt leading, and we'll go back to show you what happened as they came down for a start.
Brett Bodine does get into Earnhardt there. And boy, that could have finished Earnhardt off for the day, but apparently it hasn't hurt him.
Earnhardt has had some close calls today. I wonder if it would knock the fender in on the tire. I don't see any smoke as the car goes through the corner, but you never know. The fender may be just touching.
Boy, Ricky Rudd is on the move in car number 26. He's 2 laps down. Doesn't appear to be any damage to that car. Can you see any, guys?
It looks okay to me. I think we would see smoke if there was a fender against the tire, so he appears to be okay.
Look how close Mark Martin is. He's within just a few car lengths, not letting Dale Earnhardt get very far ahead.
Of course, they all put new tires on when they came in for the green flag pit stop, so those tires are in good shape. They were cool when they put them on, and they had plenty of time to cool even further over there.
Dale Earnhardt smoking that right front tire going through turns 1 and 2 just a moment ago.
Now, does that red flag that we have give these drivers a little bit of time to think about what's going on?
No, it just gets you more, the adrenaline going more and more and more. It's probably a detriment more than it is anything else, Bob. Because while it's going on, Mark Martin and Ken Schrader, they just sit there and say, well, I'd love to do this, but when you stop and you think about it, you've only got 35 laps to go, then it hits home just how close they are to that first, well, in Mark Martin's situation, that first Winston Cup victory.
Car smoking badly coming out of corner number 4 is Davey Allison, our pole sitter. Davey Allison with a huge amount of smoke coming from the rear end of that car, and he's going to pull the Haviland Ford into the garage area. Well,
it was in Elmo.
It was pretty certain that he wasn't going to win the Unocal money, and now it is an absolute definite. Davey Allison behind the wall and out of the race. The Unocal money at Martinsville next Sunday for our live telecast at $167,200. They're the top 3. Earnhardt, Martin, and Schrader. So now it is Derek Hope who has firmly established himself into 8th position. Here is Mark Martin. It appears again as if he is closing in on Dale Earnhardt. You told us, Benny, when you talked to Jack Roush that they were going to go for it all the way, and you would think that Mark Martin is saying to himself right at this moment, if I'm going to win, I'm going to have to do it right now. Let's see what happens. He is making a race out of it. He may make a bid for the lead here in just a moment.
Here he goes on the inside.
Into turn number 3, Mark Martin pulls alongside Dale Earnhardt. The crowd on his feet here in the main straightaway cheering. They come off of the 4th corner side by side. Mark Martin may have him at the line. Oh, it was close. Let's see how they shake out going into turn number 1. Dale Earnhardt, relentless, will not give up the lead. Mark Martin wants it very badly. Martin is on the inside. He is hungry for his first Winston Cup win. They're still side by side, locked together.
Ooh, and Earnhardt goes back, but Martin's going to come back on the inside. Earnhardt really drives it in the corner extremely hard. They might have touched that time coming off turn 4, might have swapped some sheet metal.
Earnhardt and Mark Martin slugging it out for the lead here in the closing stages of the Peak Performance 500.
And you wonder if Earnhardt learned anything there. When he went high, he was able to come on back and pass Mark back or get back in front of him. He might have found himself a groove up there that's going to work for him. And look, they do touch as they come off of that turn. That breaks Martin's car loose a little bit, just enough to get Earnhardt back out in front.
Martin laid down some tire marks on the racetrack. Now we still see Martin battling to the inside of Dale Earnhardt.
Yeah, Earnhardt's trying to use that high groove. He said, hey, if I can stay out in front of him, but it gave Martin the opportunity to move on the inside. But what does it do as they come off of the turn? It looks like Earnhardt has the bite.
14 laps to go. 14 more circuits on the 1 mile monster mile at Dover. 9 laps of the Peak Performance 500. It's still a shootout between Dale Earnhardt at number 3 and Mark Martin at number 6. Martin makes another run at his Strollite 4 down the backstretch into turn number 3. Does he have Earnhardt this time? No, he can't hold on to the lead.
Earnhardt goes high. Here comes Mark back on the inside.
Mark Martin is so close to winning his first Winston Cup race. You know that he's going to do everything he possibly can in the last 8 laps to make sure that he has the victory, but he's got the Winston Cup points leader to pass and take the lead from. That, of course, Dale Earnhardt.
We saw the right front tire on Mark Martin's car smoke again down in turns 1 and 2. That's what's happening. He's getting the car on the that time the right rear smoking as he comes off. Almost lost it coming off the corner.
7 laps to go, 493 complete.
Boy, he's giving it everything he has, but each time he slips a little bit, that's heating those tires up a little bit more and working to Dale Earnhardt's advantage. Although Earnhardt's smoking the tires a little bit too. But he's running a straighter line than Mark Martin is. When you're in the lead, you can do that.
Tire smoke again from Mark Martin's car with 6 laps to go now.
Mark Martin moves up the racetrack. The car will get a better grip up there. That'll cool the tires off and get him ready for that last charge. Looks like he's going to have to run just a couple more laps, get the tires cooled off. About 497, we're going to see a real charge, Bob Jenkins, I predict.
Coming up to 495, 5 to go at Dover. Earnhardt leads Mark Martin.
Earnhardt moves it down to the low side, going through turns 1 and 2. That has worked well for him most of the day. He'll let it drift up a little higher. He goes in low in turn 3, but watch him drift up a little higher as he comes off of turn 4.
496, 4 laps to go at Dover.
It may be that Martin has used his tires up trying so hard to get by Dale Earnhardt. Earnhardt was running high on the racetrack, keeping his tires cool. Now he's moved on the bottom of the racetrack and seems to be getting a very, very good bite.
3 to go. Dale Earnhardt still maintaining that lead, and he appears to have things pretty well in hand at the moment. Earnhardt has won 37 Winston Cup races in his career. Mark Martin has won none. Dale Earnhardt has won once here at Dover. And he has won 3 times this year in Winston Cup competition. 2 more laps to go. The next time they'll get the white flag. Martin appears to be closing in once again, making the final charge.
He's moved down. He can't wait any longer. He's moved down on the racetrack. He's going to use everything he has in the last lap and a half.
Mark Martin comes in within 2 car lengths of Dale Earnhardt as they both move off the 4th corner and get the white flag from Harold Kinder. 1 more lap to go. Can Mark Martin pull off the win, or is Dale Earnhardt going to hold him off? They move both low into turns 1 and 2. Mark Martin within a car length now as they go down the backstretch. He'll have to make the move soon if he's going to do it. He's still about a car length behind. They move into the third and fourth corners. Dale Earnhardt has things in hand. Here they come off the fourth corner. A little bit of smoke from Mark Martin's car, but he's not going to do it. Dale Earnhardt wins the Peak Performance 500 with Mark Martin finishing a close second.
Pull in and gamble on the tire wear and get your car back in the right position, back out front.
Well, we knew that that's what we had to do, was try to make up the time in the pit.